The Profit Constructors presents a 9.5-part guide to the basic data and reporting in Knowify. Part 5, Purchases and Bills.
All right, today we're going to be talking about purchases and bills. What is there to know in Knowify? What data can we extract about our purchases, whether that's open purchase orders or purchases that we've made out in the field on a credit card or a debit card, and bills that have been received by us from our vendors. So let's take a gander at what there is to know about purchases and bills. Again, if you have this upgraded version of Knowify, you may see this screen. Otherwise, you'll be able to click into your menu on the left-hand side to access these same areas of Knowify that we're going to be talking about. Let's go ahead and click into purchases. So you'll see that when we first come into the purchase screen, you're looking at manage active purchases, and you can see your own purchases and company purchases. Now, of course, because this is a test account that I play in pretty well exclusively, I don't see a lot of other company purchases that others have made, but that is what I would see. If there were multiple hands in the system, maybe you have guys out in the field who are entering data from their mobile app, and so they're entering purchases. Someone else in the office is entering purchases, and you're also entering purchases. You'll see your own at the top and anyone else's down at the bottom. I don't prefer to look at it that way. If I click into view history and then choose a certain date range. And so once again, let's go back a ways, because this is our test account, we're going to go back quite a ways to make sure that we capture some really good data that will have been entered into this system. And then we're going to go ahead and do that through a more recent date. And when we're doing this, now that this thing's messing with me. You can't do November to September of the same year. Let's go back a little bit more. So anyway, in order to capture this great data from this time period, we're going to get the right dates in here. Great. Okay. So now, oh my goodness, it doesn't like me today, folks. Let's do this. Let's do 2. That's fine. Let's apply that date. Okay, great. So now we can see a lot more data and information. So what do we want to know on this screen? Well, keeping in mind that, as I spoke of a little bit earlier in this session, Knowify considers purchases to be either open purchase orders or purchases that have been made on a credit card or a debit card or using a cash or check. So what there is to know on this page is open purchase orders that are active, open or not in, excuse me, not open, because once we've made a purchase on a cash, using cash or on a credit card or utilizing your debit card, those are going to be considered closed. So you're going to see all of those types of purchases also in this screen. And you're also going to see anytime that, let's say you have an inventory system where maybe you have supplies and materials that are being stored in a warehouse, and you're every once in a while going to take some of those supplies and materials and allocate them out towards your project and show them as an allocation on that project. You'll also see those types of transactions showing up right here on this purchases page. So just to keep in mind, there's a lot of things that you can see. And the nice part is Knowify will help you understand and establish what each type of purchase is. If you just see in this central column here, anything that just has a purchase order number there, that is literally what this is. This is a purchase order. So that can be active purchase orders or closed purchase orders against which bills have been issued. But Knowify is also tagging different kinds of charges for us. So anything that says cash debit is something that was paid for with cash or a debit card. Anything that says credit card is a purchase that was made with a credit card. Anything that says from catalog is a material allocation. So something that you took from the warehouse and then just allocated it towards that job. So there wasn't a physical purchase, but we did want to show the cost of that material against that project for good job costing, keeping in mind that much of what we're attempting to do in Knowify is for really good job costing purposes. And you'll see that some of these purchase orders are marked credit card, or it could be cash debit, but it says that this was pulled in from QuickBooks. So that's a good piece of information to know as well. Remember, Knowify and QuickBooks have a two-way sync. And so we may see that some expenses are being pulled in from QuickBooks, and this expense wasn't created in Knowify. What is there to know? Well, I want to know all of the open purchases. I want to know what purchases have been made and that they're being allocated to the right place. In the case of this purchase we were just talking about, that it was pulled in from QuickBooks, I might want to also know, you can see that that particular purchase that was pulled in from QuickBooks is showing as unallocated. So I might want to know for sure that was pulled in from QuickBooks, and I may need to make sure that my workflows are working properly to know that if something's going to pull in from QuickBooks, it's going to be allocated properly. So a lot of information and data here. One other type of purchase that you also will see tagged here and is this one, a reimbursement. So folks out in the field on their mobile devices may purchase something using their own cash or their own credit card, and they can submit that for a reimbursement as well. And you'll get to see those open reimbursements here are things that need to be approved and things that need to be handled. A lot of really good data here. And then one other place that we can go and grab data is, of course, on the purchases report. And we can use a date that makes sense. So let's go ahead and grab that older date that we've been working with. We'll go ahead and go all the way back to 21. Some interesting information that we can see on the purchases report, we can either exclude subcontractors. So maybe we're only wanting to see purchases out to material supplies and vendors. We can exclude our flexible spending purchase orders. That's a whole other session for a whole other day, what flexible spending is and how we can use that. And we can also exclude all those reimbursements. So just different ways that you can kind of manipulate and see the data, but we're going to pull down everything. And again, remember, our reports out of Knowify often download for us as Excel files. Let's make this big enough for everyone to see. And what we can see on here is that we're seeing, just for the time frame that we chose, we're seeing a lot of good data. We can see what the item is that is included on that, the quantity. We have the ability to do purchase receipts, so you can see what was received if you're using purchasing receipts. We can see what purchase order number it was from, the vendor, which is how this kind of gives us really good information if we're looking for something for a specific vendor, unit costs, so on and so forth. So some really great data. Again, what is there to know here? Well, perhaps we want to know everything we've spent with a particular vendor over the last year. Perhaps we need to know everything that we have purchased on a particular job. Perhaps we need to know everything we've purchased between various dates. So just there's all kinds of ways that you can sort and manipulate this purchasers report to give you really good data. And maybe we're also trying to see exactly, how many times we used the part that's called plumbing part, how many times we used the drain sheet part. So we can sort by any piece of this data and pull out some really good information out of Knowify. Next time when we come back, we're going to be talking about schedules and time tracking. So we'll see you back for that.